So we just finished our first call-in show that we've ever done in the history of this show. What'd you guys think? Did you have fun?
Yeah.
I had fun. We had a lot of interesting people.
I think it's a success.
I think it's a success too.
It's
Really
interesting that people reached out to us from so far away. That was nice.
That was kind of
Yeah,
cool.
we have 2 from the States.
Two from the
Yeah.
States. Yeah, 2 from the States. And we're in little quaint Toronto, Canada.
Yeah.
And
One from Georgia.
It's
One from
yeah, one from Georgia, one from Texas.
Texas.
Austin, Texas.
And one from right here in Toronto, which is pretty nice.
Yep. Yeah, I think
the
I
last
think it was a
one-
smashing success. I'm like
Yeah. We got a lot of feedback.
yeah.
We had to cancel on some people.
We almost had a band. That would have been really
we
cool.
almost did have a band. Yeah, the whole band was going to call us and talk to us. I don't know how the fuck
Apparently
we were going to
they're
do
huge
that.
Star Wars fans.
Well, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
And I like how there was a diverse diverse approaches to
Yeah.
our questions. It
Yeah.
wasn't just all one-sided, which
Yeah.
is really indicative of
Yeah.
this movie in general.
And Star Wars.
I really
these
love-
days, yeah.
I really would have liked if some women called in too, just to kind of get a little bit of a more diverse kind of
Are
representation.
you trying to pick up
We,
Frank?
we don't know any
Yeah.
women that are that passionate
You know it.
about the Star Wars.
I feel like there's a lot out
trilogies.
there.
There definitely
Next
exists.
time-
I'm sure there are,
Yeah.
but
There definitely exists.
we
There-
couldn't connect with them.
There's an Instagrammer or a YouTuber. Her name is Darth Barbie.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Is she
Darth
a
Barbie.
cosplayer?
she's a commentator, cosplayer / I'm making
Do
Instagram
you have
and
a little
YouTube my
crush on
career.
her, Frank?
No, she didn't like The Last Jedi. It won't work.
Oh, okay.
that's Frank's one checkbox.
I checked his Tinder account. It actually says you must like
The Last
Last
Jedi.
But yeah, I think we have a really fun show for you guys
So
coming
stay
up.
tuned. Cue the music.
Meanwhile, back on the podcast, 4 colossal nerds named Summer, Chris, Christina, and Frank have set out to take on a great darkness that has enveloped the world of fandom. With their powers of common sense and the strength to take on even the most butthurt Twitter mobs and insufferable comment section trolls, they fight for truth, objectivity, and nuance in the conversation and debate over fictional made-up shit.
Welcome back to another episode of Meanwhile Back on the Podcast. I'm Frank.
I'm Christina.
I'm Chris.
I'm Saba.
You guys are in for a real treat today. We are actually doing our first ever call-in show. We've invited people from Instagram and Twitter and from our lives basically to call in and shoot the shit with us. We're going to talk about the Rise of Skywalker. We might cross over into the upcoming Clone Wars that will be premiering on Disney Plus for season 7. We're going to talk about everything from a galaxy far, far away a long time ago. So buckle yourselves in. We're about to hit light speed and let's rock and roll.
All right, so we have our first caller calling in by the name of Vin. I think he has a lot to say about Rise of Skywalker. So, hi, Vin. How's it going?
Welcome, Vin.
What's up, Vin?
Hi.
Hey guys, pretty good. Listened to a few episodes. Fan.
What do you
Oh,
think?
How you guys doing?
We're good, man. We're good. We're just, we're sitting around the pod booth, just trying to get through this, and it's our first call-in show, so we're excited.
All right, so
I'm
what
like
did you-
patient zero.
Yeah, patient zero.
You are patient zero. Exactly what you are. So you said you listened to the show. What do you think so far?
I try to avoid shows from like Mandalorian
Okay.
and what's the other show
Watchmen.
that I'm not watching? Watchmen.
Yeah.
Because I'm not watching the shows yet, so I don't want spoilers.
Okay.
But the shows that like MCU stuff and some Star Wars stuff, I did listen, and it's
Cool.
it's fun.
Cool.
Do you have
It's,
a favorite?
Like a favorite co-host?
Yeah.
Well, I don't have a favorite co-host.
Okay.
Wow, that's surprising.
Oh, wow.
Because I think some people share different opinions. They're just
Oh
interesting
yeah,
set of
we do.
opinions.
That's for sure. I'm just
but yeah,
waiting for the first
it's,
person that hates me to call. That's what I'm waiting for.
You're excited about it.
I am.
You
I'm totally.
want that to happen.
I'm confrontational by nature, so I'm good to have it out with somebody who doesn't agree with me. Not necessarily agree with me, but like kind of sees me as
Are you one
problematic.
Do you
so.
go on the internet looking for people to argue with? Are you one of those people?
No,
Are
I
you
used
like
to.
wait for them to
I used
answer
to.
you?
I used to, but no,
I'm
not
not
anymore.
surprised.
Not anymore. Hey, that was a long time ago. Come on, man. We all mature. Let's
true.
All right.
Okay, Vin. So let's get your thoughts. So, Rise of Skywalker. What were kind of like your main takeaways from that, and how did you kind of feel about the trilogy as a whole?
Okay. So that I don't seem too biased. I will start off by giving like what I think are the good parts of the movies. Then I'll definitely dive into what I didn't like. And as you can tell by my tone, I was not a fan of the movie. The last one.
I like you, Vin.
But okay. But before we start, I want to like I'm not a huge fan of Star Wars. I'm a fan of Star Wars, but not as much as I would be a fan of MCU or like Pokemon or like Final Fantasy.
Gotcha.
Like, I like Star Wars. I saw all three trilogies, played a bit of the games, and I saw a bit of the Clone Wars. I didn't finish, but like I'm not like one of those crazy, like not crazy.
Are you calling us crazy?
Are you calling me crazy?
I kind of love that Pokemon is higher.
Yeah, I love that
on
you
your
rated
list.
Pokemon over Star Wars. Yeah, I'm not offended at all.
I grew up red, blue, like gold, silver, like crystal, like all
Yeah,
of those. So
yeah.
it's,
Oh God. Oh God.
Back to the main point, Star
Yeah.
Wars. So I think my view is more from a cinematic, like fan of cinema.
Oh,
point of
okay.
view than a fan of Star Wars point of view.
Me and Chris can appreciate that.
We could all appreciate
Oh,
it.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Oh.
Jesus Christ. See what I deal with here, dude? Jesus. Go ahead, Vin. Sorry. Go ahead.
But yeah, so as a fan of cinema, it's a bad movie. But let's start with the good. The good is I like the message they're sending. Is there spoilers here?
Oh,
I don't know,
yeah, go
everyone's
ahead.
seen
Oh
it.
yeah, dude. Go hot.
Go right ahead.
Alright,
Yeah.
okay. So like I like the idea of the movie, the message they're sending, right? Like the fact that Rey is a Palpatine, and the fact that the redemption story behind Kylo kind of brings the idea that no matter where your roots are, who you're from, you choose who you want to be, good or bad. And even if you turn bad at one point of your life, you could redeem yourself if you try. You know,
Yeah.
like that little social message. I find that kind of cool. I like the concept of the Romeo Juliet schism behind Kylo and Rey.
Yes.
I like the concept of it.
Okay.
Really iterating concept.
But the execution just didn't do it for you.
We'll get into the bad.
Okay.
And bad things
Okay.
later. I also I like the creativity behind all three movies and this trilogy in general because of technology behind how people use the Force and how it's illustrated. I found was really cool. That's about it.
That's a long list.
That's it. Okay.
For the good stuff.
What about the performances of the actors?
Oh yeah, the performance of the actors I found was decent.
Okay.
Okay. Anyone stand out in particular?
I'm a fan of Adam Driver.
Oh yeah.
But I weirdly hate him in every one of his roles.
Oh.
Okay.
So that's how much I think of. That's how good of an actor he is. I dislike him in his roles, but for all of them for individual reasons. So I commend his acting, but it's mainly just the roles that I think has a character I dislike.
Who do you think the standout? Who do you think the standout star in that cast was for Rise of Skywalker?
CGI Leia. No, I'm kidding.
Oh.
Probably.
Oh man.
It's
All
probably Kylo or
Yeah.
or it's probably Kylo.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Poe.
That's a good pull.
Yeah. And those are all the things I liked. What I disliked.
Okay.
Okay.
Do we need to take a commercial break because you're about to go on for like an hour?
Yeah, I'm stretching my neck out. Okay.
He's prepping.
So, the concept of love story behind Kylo and Rey, I think, was creative, and I like it's well thought out. I think the execution was poor though. Like, yes, they were connected from the first movie. I think that Force conversation they have is probably because of that. The fact that she can force teleport objects to him. Yeah, the idea was there, but it was so rushed and it was like watching the Bella romance in Twilight. Like,
you
felt no
dissing
reward
Twilight
at the end.
right
You just
now?
saw two people kiss. Well, like, the
Oh,
same.
okay.
I felt the same reason when I saw them make out or like kiss on screen. I was like, this is not rewarding. I felt like it's a cheap cop out.
Okay. So you felt like a lot of these things were unearned. Like they just kind
Exactly.
of they just kept adding and adding to the Force hierarchy
Yeah.
of powers.
I thought there was like a good
Yeah.
tension between them in the second movie, but in the third movie, it's true. It felt rushed.
Yeah, but I think he's making the point that the powers that were shared between them just were
Yeah.
almost not.
I think
There was no pretext to them at all, right? It was just
but I think
literally
the
dropped
concept was
in.
there,
Yeah.
but I think it was just poorly built
Okay.
Yeah.
or like illustrated.
Okay. Okay.
Like the forced conversation they had, you could tell they were connected, and you could tell like she didn't want to be connected to him, but she was drawn to him for some reason.
Right.
Could kind of be like, like that forbidden love, Romeo and Juliet
It's
kind
like
of thing.
every girl who
Sure.
likes a bad boy. You don't want to be drawn to it, but you are.
Yeah, exactly, kind of like that. Real life romance.
Yeah. Well, I
Just
made the
one with
point.
Jedi Force involved.
I made the point that the relationship is kind of fucked up because, like, it literally starts out with one of them abusing the other. Like,
Well, they're each trying to change each other.
yeah,
That was the point.
dude, I'm not eating that sandwich. I'm sorry. It's not happening.
But
like-
they're trying to change each other because they care about each other. So-
It is wartime, Frank.
It
That-
is.
that-
It is
that's
war.
like-
Yeah, it is wartime. It is wartime. Sorry. Continue on, Vin.
I know, but like I agree with you. It's just like you don't believe in the relationship, so that's why at the end when they kiss, you're just like,
Mhm.
why? What? Why?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you never believed in it from the beginning, right?
Right,
Because it was poorly. And I don't blame the actors for it. I just blame the writing and
Yeah.
like I don't know whoever was behind producing it.
Gotcha.
That's one aspect.
Okay.
The other one is, so I think this movie is almost as bad, or maybe as bad as Phantom Menace.
Wow.
The
Shots
difference
fired.
Is that Phantom Menace? At least I got to see a cool lightsaber fight between Darth Maul and Qui-Gon and
Pretty dope.
Obi-Wan.
Pretty
you know?
dope lightsaber fight. Yeah.
Yeah, this one, the Kylo and Rey one, sure, yeah, but it was no Yoda against Palpatine or Darth Grievous against Anakin and Obi.
Right.
It was,
Right.
It was underwhelming. And at the end, when Kylo and Rey showed up against Palpatine, I was like, oh, cool. A 2-on-1 lightsaber fight. Let's go. And all I saw was lightning shooting out like it was a Dragon Ball Z or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Like-
Yeah. I gotta
like,
agree
what?
with you there. Yeah, I gotta
Like,
agree
this
with you there,
You're
dude.
building up to this action scene? Come
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, no, I like, and the only reason I say this is because when we've previously seen Palpatine confronted by other Jedi, there's always a really cool lightsaber fight. This is the first time. Well, actually, in the original trilogy, he didn't really use a lightsaber at all. But
But like it was 19, like what? Like I don't even know the year. I'm gonna say a random year. Like 64. Like
No,
64.
77 to 1983.
as
Yeah.
you can see, I'm not a deep Star Wars.
Yeah,
fan,
it's
you know?
okay. It's okay. But yeah, no, but like, yeah, I think if we got a cool lightsaber fight, that would have been better for sure.
Yeah. I'd like just some of the imaging was beautiful, but like there was no wow factor. Like in the second movie, there was when they collided ships at light speed.
Yes.
That was beautiful.
the
that
light
scene
speed kill.
was
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah, that was dope.
In this movie, there was no scenes like that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I definitely share your point about the lack of conflict, I guess, in the final scene. Like Palpatine
lack
was
of, like-
almost beaten too easily at the end.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
like there was no point in bringing him back unless you were gonna have
Exactly.
to do something epic to kill him.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
lightning's not epic. I guess they thought that might be epic, but it wasn't.
Yeah. Why?
I wanted to see all those like ships actually fight more.
Do
Like,
something.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
all
I
these
think-
people showed up to like back up the fight, and they didn't show them do anything.
Yeah.
Exactly. If you're gonna show something, if you're not gonna show anything with Palpatine, Rey, and Kylo, at least show us the like fight upstairs between the spaceships.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I don't want to see a guy just wiggle his finger and lightning goes out.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
Harry
Rendering
Potter
the
had better
entire
action
battle
scenes.
useless. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Exactly.
rendering. Yeah, everybody frozen basically for sure. Okay, so what's your other negative?
So the other one too is I felt that the idea of Leia having Force
Yeah.
and being a better Jedi than Luke,
Yep.
I could get on board with, but you can't just shove that like in the middle of a flashback scene randomly, like it was something you foretold since the beginning of the trilogy or the beginning of the Star Wars lore. No, like it was so random that it like made no sense anymore. You know what I mean?
I agree.
I think, yeah, like that. I kind of said the same thing on one of our recap episodes, is that I do like the idea that, like, yeah, it does kind of make sense that after Return of the Jedi that Leia would like want to be interested in the Force. Like, it's not so
Exactly.
far-fetched to believe, but because we didn't really see it and then we kind of saw it just kind of at the end there, was weird. A bit.
They should have, if they were going to do a standalone movie, they could have done a standalone movie about that instead of
Christina
like
really wants a standalone
Han
Leia
Solo. Instead of Han Solo, what the heck? Like, I don't know.
Or at least put some like indicators that it happened. Like I would have loved like a kind of sideline story where the reason why Han and Leia didn't work out was not because of Han, like people would assume, was because Leia left to go train.
Yeah,
Like,
that would
that
have
would've
been
been,
cool.
like-
Yeah.
That would build like an interesting like storyline, and then it would be more rewarding, despite the fact that they tried to introduce that story in 3 movies. That we find out that Leia actually left to go be a Jedi, and
That's
So-
a
be better
great
than her brother.
story.
So-
I
that would
like
have been
it.
that would have
So-
been great.
So you want a bad romantic comedy where the woman chooses her career over her husband, basically?
Yes.
It's not
Yes.
I want to
But
see
with-
that.
but
I want to
with
see
Jedi.
that.
That would be fucking
but, like,
hilarious.
If they hint at it, then it makes more sense. That
I
you're
would
you're
watch
just
that.
dropping a scene where Leia is beating Luke in a sword fight. You're just
Oh
like, what?
man, that would be good.
Since when?
'Cause
Okay, so
Leia obviously became a strong, independent woman.
Yeah.
who's
She
like
always was a
general
strong,
and a
independent woman,
Jedi. Like,
She was always introduced that way.
yeah,
though.
No,
she
she
always
is.
was,
Yeah.
and she was more mature than the two of them anyway. She was more mature than Han and Luke.
she's a
so-
phenomenal female character for sure, without a doubt. Okay, but do I want to see that story? Not really.
You don't, but the women
like-
want to see it.
I like
Why
what
not,
we've
though?
heard about her already, though. Like there's lots of really cool books about her
Why not,
in
Frank?
the government.
Why not, Frank? Why don't you want to
Because
see
I
that
don't
story?
want to see it. That sounds like a romantic comedy to me. That literally sounds like something in the 90s where
Isn't all of Star Wars like a
It-
space
yeah, it-
romance opera? Like,
Sure.
No, the romance was the worst part of Star Wars. Everybody knows this.
Damn, I don't know. Those scenes between Anakin and Padme.
They're pretty hot.
You mean
They're
the
pretty
worst
hot.
scenes in Star? Anakin, you're breaking my
Yo.
heart. Get the fuck out of here.
Anakin and Padme. True
Yeah.
love. Better
Yeah.
than the original love.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Between Luke and Leia.
That I agree with.
OG love story right there.
yeah. So, does anybody got any questions for Vin in terms of his experience with the film?
Vin, I was just
Yes.
wondering. So you said the battle scene between Rey and Kylo were like whatever. So I count that as like probably one of the best scenes we've had in terms of fight scenes in this
I think
trilogy.
so too. Yeah.
In this
As
trilogy,
well.
yeah.
Yeah, but that's not a high bar.
Yeah.
Oh
Agreed.
shit.
No, 100%
Oh
agree.
shit.
Saying like it was the best
Oh,
lightsaber
shit.
in this trilogy is like saying that was the best graphics in the 70s trilogy.
Mhm.
You know,
Oh dude.
after what we got in the last trilogy, the prequels one, the lightsaber battles there were like blew my mind.
Yeah, yeah.
Dude, I'm gonna have to put a label
And
on
it-
this episode. This may be too savage for your ears.
Vin, I
But-
do agree that it's a low bar, but even non-comparatively, I think. Don't you think that these fight scenes here stood alone, and not just comparing to the lackluster fight scenes we've had, or do you actually just dislike them? I'm talking
No,
specifically
I
non.
like the Kylo and Rey one.
Okay,
The Kylo
okay.
and Rey one felt more gritty, right? You could
Yeah.
tell it was too not fully trained in the like Jedi. There's a name for it, the Jedi like sword fighting style.
The Jedi style.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Sure.
you could tell it's like two like more trained on their own gritty style fights,
Mhm.
and it's more like hand to hand, like kind of like the John Wick style fighting, or like the Bourne,
Mm.
less like
Like,
theatrics and more
controlled.
realistic.
Yeah.
Yeah, so more grounded fights, and that I like, sure, but then
Just the final fight
It's-
scene you had a problem with,
Yeah. And then the
Yeah.
Knights of
which
Ren.
I'd agree with
There's
you.
like the Knights of
and
Ren
then Knights
one.
of Ren
is-
too.
Oh,
Did
jeez,
you-
Knights of Ren.
Oh yeah,
Did you hear the episode where Chris was kind of kind of providing some he was analyzing the fight styles of Kylo and Rey, and Chris was saying that you could see Rey's personality almost bleed through in her fighting style, where she was
Yes,
very
I remember that one.
manic
which was very
and
angry.
very like just kind of, what were the words you used?
Like visceral and
Like an
and,
erratic
yeah,
almost.
Erratic. Yes, she was erratic. Yeah. Did you pick up on that, or like when you first saw it?
was
Yeah.
one of the first ones.
Yeah. Okay. All right. What about I want to get your take on the Knights of Ren in this film.
It's So the Knights of Ren is just like what's that ladies stormtrooper's name?
Oh, Phasma.
Oh, Phasma.
Yeah.
Phasma, the Knights of Ren, Phasma, Snoke, Rose, even at some degree Finn, and some degree Poe. Like I find they're all characters
Yeah.
that they just shot onto us.
Yeah.
Like had built up this like teaser trailer like story behind them and
Yeah.
gave us nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right.
I feel you
Like
that.
Phasma,
Yeah.
I'd say Kylo Ren,
Phasma-
Knights of Ren are more guilty of that than others.
Yeah, the
At
Knights
least
of
the
Ren
other ones
were
had, like-
yeah,
yeah.
they were useless. They did nothing. Like, you know, they literally
I agree
looked like
about
they
that.
were there to shoot a heavy metal
I
video.
agree about Phasma as well. I
Like,
would
it was
categorize-
weird,
Yeah.
dude. It was
so
fucking
disappointed in
weird.
Phasma looked so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But nothing.
Yeah.
It would have been cool. Like,
She should,
was it you that you were saying that it would have been cool if Finn had turned Phasma
I didn't say that.
to the lights? No, somebody
That
told
would
me
have been
that.
cool.
That
if-
would have been
if
sick.
Yeah.
If Phasma wasn't a clone, if someone, a citizen that on her own decision, like decided to join.
Yeah.
And
Well,
that's why
I
she's
have a
above
feeling
the rest.
she's
Or
a
so, like,
clone
some
for
kind
a
of
reason.
well, she's not a clone
She's not a
actually.
clone.
Oh.
They're stormtroopers.
Yeah.
Stormtrooper, yeah.
She's
sorry.
she actually has a really cool backstory where she comes from a planet that's like literally hunters and gatherers, and apparently she's
See?
some crazy ass
None
warrior.
of that was shared.
Yeah, I know,
had
dude.
None of that.
Yeah.
And like with Phasma, the final matchup between her and Finn kind of it was like kind of meaningless because there was nothing, like she didn't do anything cool up to that point really, and then like
Yeah.
that final things kind of felt like it was forced and empty and stuff.
It felt like the Justice League fight with the horn guy.
It felt
Yeah,
Oh,
Steppenwolf.
Steppenwolf?
Yeah.
it felt to me
Exactly
like
that.
it felt to me like since Finn kind of lost Rey as a love interest or whatever, they had to like replace Rey for Finn.
Yeah.
You're
That's
saying
what it-
Phasma? Wait, what is happening?
Yeah. Where
Is
did
there
you
a-
jump
Is there
to?
a weird fan fiction
Christina,
we don't
where did
know
you
about?
go?
That they were trying. I felt like they were trying to create a new love interest for Finn.
But
What?
not
With, like,
Phasma.
No
Well,
way,
no,
dude.
but like with all these like extra
Rose.
other characters, like
Oh,
it
but like
seemed
Rose.
like there was
Oh.
multiple potential love
Oh,
interests
Janna
for Finn.
with Janna with Janna.
Yeah.
Hey, Vin, did you like Janna?
See, I don't even know who Jenna is.
Janna was the,
The girl with the horse.
on the horse, and she was also a stormtrooper.
Yeah, she was like a former.
Oh yeah, the new one. Okay, that's the other thing too. I love the idea of universes, cinema universes. I love what MCU did. Amazing.
Yeah.
They made mistakes along the way, but what they did was amazing. Setting up universes has to be done if you want to do it right, in a subtle way where you make it feel rewarding when you find it out. You know,
Okay.
if you just shoot it in my face like Jenna and
Dory Bliss was the other one.
Yeah, there
Those,
was
yeah.
two.
Yeah.
Two potential
Like,
new
just-
love interests for Finn.
They're not love.
Okay, so sorry, Vin.
Potential.
Sorry, Vin. Are we talking about setting up new characters, or are we talking about setting up new universes?
but you could tell they're setting up new characters for the universe and other TV shows and
Right.
other stuff.
Yeah.
Yes,
And
yes,
that
yes,
ruins
yes.
the character.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
It makes-
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
It makes it.
in one of their case,
Sorry,
they
go ahead.
literally just said their backstory as soon as they were introduced, right?
That's so
It
true.
was just like, oh,
Yeah.
this is
That's
my
so
this is my
true.
profile. Like,
Yeah.
make a show out of me,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was an elevator pitch.
It was literally a Tinder bio.
Yeah.
It was like, here's where I come from. Here's what I
And
do.
then Lando
Yeah.
at the end, who looks at the girl, and he's like, "Let's go find out."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you
Bro, like-
agree to me? Did you agree with my statement when I said like this just felt like a commercial for the next thing? Like it's just like an elaborate trailer. For,
A plug.
Like,
A
plug.
fucking plug.
I
Yeah.
don't think I heard that.
Oh.
But
Yeah, that was Chris's take. That
Yeah,
it
that
felt
was
like a
Chris's
trailer for like a long trailer for
Yeah.
all the shows that are gonna come out.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty
that's
funny.
what happens when you set up the universe badly. It's like
Yeah.
I was thinking more like it felt like reading a magazine instead of like a comic book or.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
Yeah.
That's a good take.
Okay, so Vin, before we let
It's
you
like-
go, bud, why don't you tell us what you would have done differently?
done it in 6 movies instead of 3.
Really?
Mm,
Okay.
double trilogy.
Okay.
Because they tried to do 2 things at the same time. I feel they tried to send off the last like the old generation, the Han, the Luke, and the Leia.
Yeah.
At the same time, introducing the new.
Right.
The new
Good
one.
point.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That is a good point. Yeah.
And like it felt like they didn't tell, and like they tried to tell both stories, but they didn't end up telling none of them properly.
Yeah.
I like that.
So
I
then
like
I
that.
feel like if they did it in 6, they could have told
Yeah.
the send off
Yeah.
And
while
the- and-
slowly
Mhm.
shooting away focus from the new one.
Yeah.
and then do the ones. That's what MCU is doing. So I'm gonna say MCU a lot. I love what they did. Amazing.
Good comparison.
Yeah.
Good comparison, right?
And maybe the Rise of the First Order wouldn't have been done off screen.
Yeah.
Maybe it could have just been done on screen.
Yeah. It took
They could have had standalone movies to build up some of these things.
I agree.
It's kind of annoying.
I agree.
Like,
It took Marvel 10 years to finish this story, finish their first saga, right?
Yeah.
Why not? Like that makes entirely
They
makes
didn't have the
sense.
foresight.
No,
This is
I know they
leadership
didn't.
It comes
I know
back to
they
the
didn't.
leadership decisions,
I
right?
know
I
they
would have
didn't.
loved the first 3 movies
Yeah.
to be like basically fighting Luke, Leia, Han, and Rey, because you gotta introduce Rey, fighting against the Knights of Ren, and then figuring out, getting up to Kylo in the last movie of that trilogy, finding out that Kylo is actually Ben, and then the next one,
wow,
That'd be cool.
the next
And then
trilogy,
they lose.
Yeah,
because he's wearing a mask.
I would have liked
Yeah.
to wait to find that out.
That would have
too,
been
yeah.
fucking
Yeah.
sick.
like 3 first movies, find out it's Ben, then you end off the 3 old characters.
That would have
because,
been
like,
cool.
Except Leia or whatever.
That would have
And
been
then
cool
the
as
new
shit.
trilogy would be just focused on Ben / Kylo and Rey.
I want
and
to
then
see
you
your
could
movie, Vin.
Finish their love
Yeah,
story right there.
yeah.
I want to see your
Would've
movie,
been way
pal.
better.
Yeah, I want to see
6
your
movies
movie.
instead of
Yeah.
3.
Wow, man. All right. Well, hey, listen, bud. Thanks for calling in. We really enjoyed
Thank
our
you.
chat. And
Thank you for listening to my
yeah, no worries,
very
dude. No worries, man. You know, we're always down to talk to like-minded fans.
Or
We
not
appreciate
like-minded
you.
fans.
Or not like-minded
Yeah.
fans. Appreciate you listening to the show too, man. So, you know, stay tuned, and we got a lot of cool shit coming out too. So hope you enjoy it.
yeah MCU new faces coming, so listen for that. See what you guys think of Black Widow
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
and,
Yeah.
and Birds of Prey.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll be talking about
I'll be
those.
I'll be definitely reviewing that movie for sure.
Have you been watching the Harley Quinn show? Maybe we'll talk
No.
about that on one episode.
Yeah, we
Okay.
definitely want to talk about Harley Quinn at some point. Yeah, it's really good.
Alright.
It's really fucking funny.
Alright.
Yeah.
All right, Vin.
All right, thanks, Vin.
Thanks. Bye.
Yeah, no worries,
Bye.
bud.
Later, Vin.
Yeah,
Later.
Thanks.
Bye. Bye. So our next caller is Manny. Manny, you there?
Yeah. Hey guys.
Hi.
Hey, man.
Hey.
How's
Hey,
it
man.
going?
Good. Good.
Good. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Manny. Where are you from?
I'm from Austin, Texas.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, born and raised.
All right. Nice.
Horse fanatic over here.
Nice, man.
A horse
Uh,
fanatic?
I think he said Star. Did you say horse fanatic or Star Wars fanatic?
No, Star Wars.
Oh,
fanatic.
so that
okay.
makes more
We
sense.
thought you said horse fanatic.
I thought he was like
Star
listing off
Wars.
his hobbies.
We're like, fuck, man, that's some serious Texas shit right there. God damn. So, man, you called in during our Star Wars, the Rise of Skywalker call-in show. So I'm guessing you want to talk about the Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah. I mean, who doesn't, right? So.
Okay, I'm already
there's
getting the
just a lot of
impression you
things
like
I
the
don't,
movie. You there? Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I must have cut off. No,
No.
I was just saying I want to see what y'all think. What y'all want to pick my brain at? Because I could go on for days on this.
Okay, first off, what'd you think of the film overall? Did you like it?
Much better than the first two.
Ah.
Cool. Okay,
But-
interesting. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, keep going.
Now, let me defend myself. So the only reason I liked it better than the first two, it was rushed. It felt like everything was going on in like the first 10 minutes.
Yep.
But it was a lot of fan service. You know, you did see a lot of force wielding weapons that you only see in video games or in the books.
Mhm.
So, that's, I guess, what drew me towards it. It wasn't as Disney as the first two, where everything was a joke to everyone.
I kind of felt it like it was more jokey.
And plus it answered all the questions that the first two were just lingering the entire time.
Okay.
I think that makes sense. I think I agree that I feel like The Last Jedi had a lot of joking moments in it that were like too jokey, and I
Yeah.
was like,
I didn't like the vibe of The Last Jedi.
I agree with the
but-
jokes for sure. Like it was like self-aware jokes that the first two kind of did, and this one like had some funny moments, but they were like in-universe funny moments.
I
Right?
definitely did not. I definitely thought the first movie was the best of the trilogy. So
Yeah.
The
Force
first one
Awakens?
was good too.
Yeah.
But again, just the fan service that they did and answered all the questions and kind of just, obviously, the endings and, we can pick here and there, but
Sure.
I have some issues with it too by far. So
Sure. Okay. So what were some of your big highlights from the Rise of Skywalker? What were some of the big standouts for you?
the standout is just how powerful, Kylo and Rey got
Mhm.
and however short amount of time elapsed from the battle on the Last Jedi. So it's just they got really powerful, and even in the second trilogy, which is the first three, Jedi there weren't that powerful, or they didn't seem as powerful because they didn't do as many force wielding powers, and the healing thing that really bothered me. It's just I could go on for days. Like, okay, if the healing was a Jedi thing, then why didn't Obi-Wan do that to Qui-Gon?
Yeah.
Why didn't Luke do that to? Why
his
didn't Luke
father.
do that to Vader?
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
Rey
So it's like-
stumbled upon this power.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a dark
yeah,
side
like,
power,
okay,
though, because Rey hasn't been
let's
following
say-
the
Let's
rules.
say Rey did learn it or something, but then how did Kylo learn it? Like, bam, like that. Like she healed me, so now I know how to do it. Like,
He
no,
just
that's
like
not how it works.
he felt it in his heart. You
Oh,
know?
that was annoying. I did hate that. I did hate
Yeah.
that
Mandy,
they kept doing it.
Did you feel like they were trying to make it seem like these force powers were just supposed to be like innate to these Jedi for some reason, and they're not learned? Which doesn't make sense to me.
That is
but-
what they were trying to do, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like it felt rushed. Like they didn't give them time to explain. Like remember, I think it was the Last Jedi when Snoke was supposedly force connecting them, and the effort would kill you alone. But they were doing it. They did it like 3 or 4
on their
times.
own. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like the power consistency is kind of off. So now you're saying you're stronger than Snoke was at that point, or something.
I feel like there had to be
and it
some kind of
kinda,
trade-off.
they were both training, but it's like, from where? Like,
Yeah.
show me how you trained.
Here's something I just thought of right now. Well, not right now, but like recently. If Snoke was so much more powerful than the two of them, and Palpatine could make Snoke, why didn't he just make a bunch of Snokes? Like, do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, why was Snoke so strong in the second movie?
I wonder if it was
And he
part
was
of
just a
like
pawn.
Palpatine's like grand master plan to have like Kylo come to him. Like I don't know if that wasn't really explored. I agree with you. I am actually on the side of liking this movie as well. I do also agree with you, Manny, that there was like a lot of stuff sort of introduced into this movie to sort of answer stuff, which I guess could be kind of annoying. Like, do you kind of wish do you like that it was all in the one movie, or would you have wished maybe for them to like pepper it out a different way?
I would have wished for 2 movies. Just
Yeah.
the maybe end to right before Rey and Kylo at the Death Star to find that holocron looking thing, the Wayfinder.
Good stop point.
Yeah, that's when he first grabbed it. I'm sorry, when he first grabbed it, I was like, "Oh my god, it's a holocron!" And he was like, "No, it's a Wayfinder." I was like, "What? I've never heard of this."
Yeah.
And then they mentioned, I forgot the world where Palpatine was on. But they said
Exegol.
that was
Exegol.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought because in Bane, I think it was like Caliban or something, like Caravan was like the ancient Sith world where
Doroban.
when Sith were still
Yeah,
like
Doroban.
a Jedi
Yeah,
order.
Doroban, yeah. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. So that's why I was kind of like confused. But either way, I thought it was cool. But so yeah, it's just it would have been better for 2 movies, but of course people would have complained about that too. So like I said, I liked it overall better than the first 2, just because it did it entertained me. So
What did
but
you
as
think
far
about?
as, like, to answer the question about maybe why Snook didn't destroy both of them? So in the Bane novels, he learns about essence transfer, right? So maybe.
But
needed
isn't
an actual body? Because why do you think Snook looked all bits and pieces and beat
Yeah.
up?
Yeah, but isn't
So that-
isn't the Bane novel Legends though? Like it's non-canon now?
Is it?
I think so, dude. Yeah.
It's hard to keep up.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
is and what isn't.
Yeah, no, true. That's another huge misstep by Disney for sure. Okay, so what was your take on the Emperor as a whole, as like bringing back the Emperor? Were you a fan of that? Were you excited about when you found out the Emperor was coming back?
When I heard his laugh, yeah. I mean, I personally was, just because he's been the main antagonist the entire time.
Right.
So
okay.
But yeah, and I guess it's only fitting to have the end of the Skywalker like lineage or story to end with him too, because he was like in the Phantom Menace, he was the Phantom Menace. So it's like, yeah. So I thought it was good because I mean, who else are you gonna bring? Some random that's been hiding this entire time? No.
Sure.
Isn't that what
sure.
Ray was? A random who's been hiding?
Yeah.
In a way. So
In a-
go ahead, Saba.
I was gonna say that's the thing with like what one suggestion that I had when we were kind of talking about this. I thought it'd been really cool instead of introducing Palpatine right at the beginning of this movie, is if they did it like at the end of The Last Jedi, like they're sort of running away and the First Order doesn't know about it either, and then they hear this like message from Palpatine, and then the stakes for like the third movie would have been different, because I think the way like I don't hate that he came back, but just the way they explained it with like the one liner proposed like Palpatine's back somehow, and you're like, oh, okay. Like that's pretty cool.
Were you?
Did you feel like it was forced?
Yeah. Did you feel like it was forced? Like what do you think of the execution of like?
'Cause I agree with Saba.
Yeah, me too, dude. Yeah.
You mean like killing Palpatine?
No. That Palpatine was just like in this last movie. Like, did it seem like him just appearing from the beginning of this last movie? Did it feel forced or rushed or anything like that?
Yes and no. Again, because they kind of rushed it all in the first half of the movie for when Kylo was trying to find him, and he finally found him, and he explained what he was doing, and he had the entire fleet. So, but what can you like? Again, I like it just because it's what are you going to do in one movie?
Yeah.
Explain what the first kind of didn't explain in the first place, that they didn't even lead up to it. How do you finish a trilogy while having to have only one movie to answer for the first two flaws, you know?
Right.
So, I mean, yeah, it was rushed, but I can't fault them for making it feel rushed.
So you think they did the best with what they got, essentially?
Yeah. I mean,
I think
it could
I
have
agree.
been better, but would it have been better? No. Could it have been a lot worse? Definitely. So that's the way I look at it. It could have been a lot worse. So I'm happy with what happened. I've seen it like 3 times. So it's one of those things like
I saw it 3 times too. Yeah. It like the second time was definitely a lot more enjoyable for me. The first time I went, dude, as soon as I found out that Leia was training Rey, I just tuned out. I literally put on my blinders.
That's right in the beginning of the movie. That's a really early time to tune
I know.
out.
Listen, we were in the theater together.
I actually leaned forward and looked at Frank.
Yeah, he looked at me to see if I was leaving. He looked at me to see if I was leaving, because in past shows I've said specifically, I was like, if Leia's fucking training Rey, I'm walking out of that theater. And I didn't want to walk in because I wanted to see the rest of the movie. But I was so pissed, dude. I fucking tuned out like right away. I was like, I do not. I cannot handle this. What do you think about the whole Leia's backstory almost kind of like being told in this one entire movie as far as her being a Jedi? What do you think about that?
Yeah, I don't.
Sorry. Let's be more accurate. In one flashback.
And one flashback.
Not one
Sorry, one flashback.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just like one scene of her, dueling against Luke. Yeah, I didn't like that either. But it was, again, it was rushed, but they did what they could. But yeah, it just the whole deal with that. I didn't like it at all.
Yeah.
She shouldn't have been able to train him. If anything, it should have been the Force Ghosts.
Well, I think
Exactly. That's what I wanted. I wanted Force Ghost training Rey.
I think she could have trained Rey just from having been around Jedis her whole life. She didn't have to be a Jedi to do it.
No,
No,
that's not.
That is not.
That's weird.
But she was a war general. She was a war general.
So
That would have been
train her.
enough.
So train her in being a war general.
Exactly. Exactly.
And I've said this a lot. Like I said,
I don't think they had to make her a Jedi like that.
I don't mind that she was a Jedi. Like my main thing, because I do like this movie and I feel like they kind of did the best they could with what they had.
Yeah.
Is like it would have been cool if they introduced that earlier, because it's not a hard, like I said this earlier this episode, it's not a hard concept to believe that she would want to train after
Yeah. We're
Return of the Jedi.
always just specifically talking about the fact that
Yeah.
they never mentioned it.
Yeah,
We're not
exactly,
talking
yeah.
about the fact that like we don't like Leia being a Jedi.
Yeah.
We did like it. In fact, I was expecting it, but we never got it.
But it should have been
Yeah.
set up earlier.
Yeah.
It should have been set up
the way
way
they
earlier.
executed
Yeah.
it was weird.
Yeah, the way they executed was fucked up. So, Manny, let me ask you, buddy, where do you think the fault lies with the lackluster? In my opinion, I don't think that our expectations have been met in terms of this trilogy overall. So, where do you think the fault lies? Like, are you looking more at the directorial team, the writers, or are you kind of looking up the chain to somebody like Kathleen Kennedy?
It goes, stuff rolls from the top down. So yeah, but at the same time, the directors were they weren't they didn't have a game plan to begin with.
Yeah,
know?
exactly.
So, see, that was a beginning for disaster right there.
Sure, but who gives the directors their marching orders, right? Like, who tells them?
Yeah, but here's the thing, like
It
JJ,
wasn't up to them to have the game plan though, because they changed directors in the middle, right?
Yeah.
So
Well, I think like they should have had like an overall story, but I do think like JJ Abrams is like a big enough name that like you kind of believe whatever his story is. Not saying that's the right thing to do or not, but you know what I mean? Like he's like name brand value at this point. And then Ryan Johnson coming in and changing it, whether you agree or not with that as well. I think definitely from the top for sure. And then definitely like these directors like kind of roaring. Because what we're seeing, I think, in these movies was just like a fight between the directors and then people just not knowing like what side to take.
Right.
yeah, but then that could have been corrected with proper management and proper direction.
So, Manny, you said you don't like you didn't like The Last Jedi, but was there anything that you did like about it?
The Last Jedi. I mean, other than Kylo Ren becoming stronger.
Yeah.
Because in the first one, The Force Awakens,
yeah,
he was really badass at the beginning, stopping a blaster, but then it showed his weakness. He was just weak. Yeah. Even when he killed his father, he was just torn. And so at least in The Last Jedi, you saw him become more powerful. And he's like, I'm deciding to kill Snoke because I'm going to be the one.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I did like him. I did like that part.
Okay, what do you think about the whole narrative idea about the death of the Jedi being having failed and you know, their hubris and their overconfidence and their yeah, what do you think about that particular point in the story?
You mean what Luke was telling?
Yeah, like were you excited to see potentially the Jedi be rebooted and like take on maybe a potentially different form, or were you one of the people that was like, okay, Luke would never do that? Like, where were you at with?
You mean just having like an overall force wielding like society type deal?
Well, not only that, but just the Jedi as a name, as an order. That's what I'm kind of getting at.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a Sith person, so
me too, man. Me too.
Naturally, I want the Jedi to fail, but
wow, okay.
It's like, you know, the whole plot. It would have, it wouldn't have bothered me just because, you know, they didn't get it done in the first, you know, 3 movies, and obviously there was only 2 and 2 in the original trilogy,
right?
So when there was only a rule of 2 the entire time for the Sith, and they still couldn't do it. But I mean, I'm one of those people that's like easily amused as long as the storyline makes sense,
right,
and they have it like from beginning to end. So as far as the Jedi like going extinct and all that or ending, I really didn't mind it. Yeah, buddy. I'm like this. Okay, we'll go over there.
Oh,
hey, buddy.
That's cute. Hey,
buddy. What's going on?
He's over here talking. Say hi.
Hi.
Hi. How are you?
He wants to play with his cars.
So. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Cars. Of course he likes cars, right, buddy? Of course.
Yeah, exactly. It's all them Hot Wheels.
Nice.
But yeah, so either way it happened, I was going to enjoy it, but it would have been better if they would have been annihilated.
Okay. All right. Anybody got any other questions for Manny?
No, I think it's an interesting take. It's nice to have someone kind of come on and like enjoy the movie, because we've been getting some really the opposite.
Yeah. Our first caller was not a fan.
Not at all.
No,
really.
Yeah, and I did enjoy it too, especially just for in terms of like entertainment value. Like it was there. Like there was that entertainment.
I was
value for
entertained
sure.
but annoyed, and yeah. So.
Yeah, I was definitely annoyed.
That's very apt. Yeah.
I was definitely annoyed. Manny, were there any changes you would have made to the film, to the story?
To like all 3 of them, or just the last one, the Rise?
Let's talk about the last one.
Last one. Yeah, I would have liked Kylo or Ben at that point to stay alive. Like, there's no point in you dying, but I guess it makes sense, you know, to save a life, you have to give a life type deal. But yeah, no. Other than that, you know, maybe have the Knights of Ren do something more other than just walk around.
Yeah,
looking like emo. Yeah.
Yeah, looking like a cheerleading squad that doesn't do anything.
Metal. They were metal, man.
Yeah,
Those guys were metal.
they seem badass, but what did they do? Like, nothing.
Yeah.
They're just a
Surveillance
prop
team.
for
They're
Disney
probably
to
gonna
sell.
get a movie.
Oh, let's
let's
hope
hope
not. Let's fucking hope not. Let's
I'm good
hope
on
not.
that one. Thank you.
What'd you think about all the twists? Like Chewie dead, Chewie not
Ugh.
dead,
Oh,
Ben
annoying.
Ben
No, I
dead,
was like,
Ben not
no.
dead, Ray dead,
It was
Ray not dead.
painful.
The
What'd
thing
you
is,
think
the
of all
Chewie
that?
one is interesting. Yeah.
What'd you think of all that, dude?
Chewie one really got me. I was like, no way.
Oh no, I
And,
freaked.
of
I
course-
fucking lost my shit
Yeah.
because I was like, I was like, no way, they killed fucking Chewie.
Yeah.
the one person that everyone universally loves, like
Yeah.
no matter what.
Yeah.
And they kill him. But no, that I was like, holy crap. And of course, you see him, on the Imperial ship. It's like, oh yes. I was like all happy and stuff. But as far as Rey dying, again, I was like, okay, she killed Palpatine, which is supposed to be the most powerful Sith of all time. Yet she's gonna live. I don't believe it. So, and then of course, Ben comes and saves her. So that's when I'm just
Yeah.
they should have just both lived and started a new order, if that, themselves.
Okay.
I was okay with one of them
And I would've been happy.
dying.
Okay. But didn't you think it was a little too much with all the switchbacks and all the like the turnarounds and the didn't you think that was a little too much?
Not really. Again,
Okay.
just because I expect them to try to make up powers in these kind of movies.
Oh, okay.
And
Okay.
that's
So
just-
you're
that's
saying that
just Palpatine,
yeah, okay. Huh.
the only person to even come close was Mace Windu. And at that point, it was 2 against 1 because Darth Vader was there to chop Mace's hand off.
Right.
And
Well,
so,
Anakin.
but-
Yeah. Yeah. So
yeah. At that point, Anakin. So, but I can't, I can't really complain. But
yeah.
I did before anything ends. I did like how they led up to the when they were doing the Force connection with each other.
Yeah.
They were able to transfer items. I like how they led up to the lightsaber transfer. Now, like from the beginning, I think it was. I forgot the first time they did it. It was
The
when they were on
necklace.
water.
The necklace.
Yes, it was the necklace.
Yeah.
And then the second time they were fighting,
was a fruit.
Vader's mask or the
Yeah, yeah,
was
she
standing
dropped.
on
Yeah,
crutches.
she dropped Vader's mask, and Kylo picked up on
Oh,
that
that's
or
right,
whatever. Yeah, yeah, but yeah,
So
yeah, that was
the
interesting.
whole like transferring of actual atoms and materials through that and led up to the lightsaber. That was pretty cool. I will give
Okay.
them that because they didn't just boom, it happens. They led up to it.
Okay,
So
were
that-
you?
that-
Go
kinda
ahead.
fair for
Go
me.
ahead. Sorry. Were you a fan of the whole like Rey being a Palpatine? Like, were you supportive of that? Like, did that make sense to you?
For her power, yeah. As far as how powerful she was,
But just for
naturally.
her power, though, like that's the only connection you can make, because like not a lot of people know this, but Palpatine doesn't have any children in canon, like none.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I haven't finished Plagueis book, so I don't know the end of that as far as what he's done.
Right.
Yeah. Did he have like concubines or something?
No, I don't think so. Maybe.
I don't know what he
Did
gets
he?
up to. in
Maybe.
his
He
free
maybe
time.
didn't have sex. Maybe he like
Test
cloned
cloning or
himself
something?
or something.
Sorry, what'd you say, Manny?
Maybe did he test cloning, and then that's how his son, hence.
Well, he was big into cloning, but
came
apparently,
about, or I don't know.
apparently in Legends, he did have a clone child, and his name was Trioculus, and he only had one eye, and
Oh.
that was
That's
weird.
a misleading name.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
Try would assume you would assume
Yeah.
3 at least.
Yes.
Literally
That-
says 3
do-
eyes.
Do you think they're
on
gonna
his
make a
name.
show about how Palpatine has children?
No, I hope not. I really fucking hope not. Okay,
And any of these things can become a show or movie.
okay. Last question. The final scene at the Lars homestead. What'd you think?
Don't bury the lightsabers; those are awesome relics. But
Okay.
but I did love how she had a Jedi consular or trainer lightsaber color because she
Okay.
made her own lightsaber, of course. And,
Right.
And I love that it's a dual-sided lightsaber.
That
I
one
love
isn't
that.
dual
No,
sided
it's
though.
not dual-sided.
That one's not dual sided.
Yo, I'm with you there though. I
looked
wanted
like it,
her
because
to have dual-sided.
I saw it again on the second and third. Cause I was like one of those like
Yeah.
her staff is dual weapon.
Yeah.
So she activated it from the top, and the bottom was the exact same, just flipped. So she just activated one side
Oh, I see.
to me.
Ah.
So that's what I saw. So
It's
if you
interesting
ever
they
see-
didn't show
We're gonna have
that.
to
I
look.
didn't,
We're gonna have to look.
I didn't pick up on that, dude. I didn't pick up on that at all.
Yeah, because it like she actually turned it like a knob or whatever on the top, and that's what activated it. But if you literally flip it upside down, it's the exact same on the other side.
okay.
Oh,
Gotcha.
interesting. I'm gonna take a look. But that would kind of make sense considering, she does use a staff.
Which is one of the things I really
I mean,
wanted
even
her
her
to have.
Sith
version,
Force
yeah.
vision had one. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what do you think of the her taking the name, like the final scene where that woman comes around and she says, "Who are you?"
yes.
And she says,
It
"I'm
would've
Rey
been cool if
Skywalker."
It should have showed either Anakin's Force Ghost and Ben's. Because
Like the whole clan, like you'd have a whole basically like a family portrait.
Yeah, a family reunion, like a barbecue.
A family portrait of Force Ghosts.
like, hey, everyone's invited to the Force Ghost party.
Nice, dude. Nice. I like that. All right, I can get behind
So
that.
I mean, just showing Leia and Luke, I understand because that's the only people she's met. But you know, throw Ben in there too.
Yeah.
And, you know,
Were you a
Good goal.
fan? Were you a fan of Rey not being anybody? Like let's say everything ended in the Last Jedi's through line carried through. Were you a fan of that or no?
no, I would have been cool with it because I think it was in the Last Jedi. That little boy, you saw.
Yeah,
how he
Temiri
used the
Blagg.
Force.
Yeah, it's Mary Blag.
Like he's a no. I'm sure he's a nobody too.
Christina
so.
wants to adopt him. She talks about him so much.
He's cute. He's cute as
But she
hell.
keeps calling him Broom Boy.
Yeah,
Broom
she
Boy.
Doesn't care enough
yeah,
to
she's
learn
like,
his
"Fuck
name.
you, dude. I'm not using your name." Hey, Broom Boy,
Yeah.
come
Because
here.
they never told us his name. It was like on
Yeah.
the internet. People on the internet told us his name.
And you know, see, so if Bray being anybody, I was fine with that because I guess the whole thing is the Jedi weren't the ones to save it. It was like the rebels and anyone can do it
Yeah,
type deal.
yeah.
So I was fine with her not being anybody, but she had to be a Palpatine, which is okay too, I guess. But,
Yeah, gotcha.
Like
Well-
either way, it wouldn't have rubbed me the wrong way if that's what y'all asking.
Cool. All right, man. Well, listen. Thanks for calling, pal. It was
Heck
good
yeah,
catching
man.
up
Yeah,
with
man.
you.
Making them. Enjoy listening to it.
Hey, good man. Good. Let us know. You know, keep. Oh, sorry, the brain fart. Keep listening, and you know, if we have another call-in show, we'd love to hear from you again. We're gonna be talking about maybe something different, but
Yeah, man. Love hearing from you.
but yeah,
Yeah.
thanks, dude. Thanks for calling in.
Later, dude.
Yeah,
Awesome.
thanks.
Take care. May the force be with you.
May the force be with you, pal.
You too.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.
So, guys, we had one caller who really didn't like the movie at all. Gave us a lot of points of contention for that film. And then we had one guy, Manny, who was like over the fucking moon about it. So I guess this is a clear indication of how divided the fan base really
it's
is
very
on this
indicative
film.
of the
Wow.
fan base, for sure.
Wow.
I think people. It was entertaining, and I think people were drawn into that. But it's one of those things where if you start thinking about it too much,
Yeah.
then it doesn't make sense.
It's interesting
anymore.
actually because me and my best friends, my brothers, when we talk about this movie, we would all agree on the things we hated and things we loved about it. But the only difference was they like it despite all of these, and I hate it because of all of them. Right? It's like some people just can notice the mistakes because I think we're all agreeing on the mistakes and all the bad things,
But
but
it's about-
people can like it
Regardless of that.
regardless of it, right? Despite of it.
When I watched it, I noticed these things. I didn't hate the movie because of them. Though,
Sorry, maybe
so.
hate's not the right word, but
Yeah.
like you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like dislike the movie.
Yeah, I don't think anybody like Chris, I know you have a lot of critiques about this film, but I don't think you hated it.
No, I don't.
No.
I
And-
even liked some of the new characters. I just hated how they were introduced.
Yeah, I
So-
thought
Yeah.
Zori Bliss as a character was really cool. 'cause
She was
it
dope as
It
shit.
was introduced like a new
Yeah.
type of, like a new kind of world, like this world of Spice Runners that we don't really see. So I think Chris is right. It's interesting. I did enjoy watching the movie, but I do understand all the criticisms around it, and I'm not really gonna sit there and like defend all of them because some of them I'm just like, you know, I know they don't quite make sense. But the thing I really do love is I really love the scenes, and I've said this before with like Rey, Finn, and Poe, like kind of like the team getting back together. Like I like that vibe, and I felt like that was kind of missing. So
I like the tension between Kylo and Rey.
we
and
know
then-
you like that
yeah,
Yeah, we
that
know you
whole
like that
bit.
Yeah,
tension for
we've
sure.
heard.
Yeah.
I
Well,
feel
just
like
get you some nice fan fiction.
yeah, we're gonna
Get that
find
out
you
of
some
your
fan
system.
fiction. We'll send some over.
No, but it, like to me that made sense. Like it did feel like the buildup was there throughout the trilogy, just not in this movie. Like in this movie, it felt like they were just trying to wrap that.
I would
up.
say in Last Jedi there was a tension, and you can't like
yeah,
really.
I thought that was
they
great.
built that into the
It was
thing,
great.
which I was really surprised about. Like especially this shirtless scene with Kylo.
That was funny.
And I was like, oh, this is like very interesting because I was like, this feels like a very like tense scene, and I remember being like kind of taken aback by that.
I
Does
thought it was
anybody else-
ridiculous that he was shirtless, but yeah.
Like,
I mean-
And I
damn,
hated
Kylo.
that she
I'm sure
commented
Snoke-
on it. I wish she
Snoke-
wouldn't have commented.
Snoke was
on
probably
it.
like waiting. It's like let's
Snoke's
oh,
a
he's
perv.
changing. Okay, let me call.
He's such a
Let me
perv.
three-way call this and then put myself on
I
mute.
see that. Snoke is definitely a perv.
So it's
He's a dirty old man. Is
Yeah.
that what you're saying?
it's a good thing we brought up
Wow,
Snoke
dude.
because I
Wow, okay.
brought up a point earlier in this episode and like obviously we had a call and we didn't have time to talk about it, but it felt really weird to me because I was like looking back on how strong Snoke actually was, like lifting Rey up without even moving his hand, and like Rey was trying to pull a lightsaber and he like spun it around the room and hit her in the head with it. Like she's so strong. It makes
Yeah.
makes you kind of think like it makes you kind of think, why do you even need
Right.
Kylo and Rey? Like if you can make artificial people as powerful as this guy,
Yeah.
like it
No,
like,
it's a good point.
I
That's
think
a good point.
Snoke dying was the single worst start off point for the third movie. Because what the fuck do you do? Like you have to reintroduce a new bad guy.
Yeah.
Like the entire
Or you could have
mystery
made
of Snoke-
Kylo the bad guy.
He was the bad guy.
Yeah,
It
but
was-
he wasn't the bad guy in the third movie.
Yeah, no, it's it's interesting. Saba, you were talking about Sorry Bliss and the spice running. Does anybody else find it hilarious that Disney that the Star Wars had to get to Disney to introduce the drug dealers? Like, does anybody
I guess
does
so.
anybody else find that funny?
Spice Runners.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's what I
That's
felt
what
like
That's
the
what
Marco
spice is.
Polo.
Spice is a drug. Yeah.
Well, technically, Han Solo was a drug dealer and
Yeah.
an arms dealer.
He was a
and-
smuggler. He's a
Well,
smuggler.
it's funny.
What do you think he smuggled? He
Yeah.
probably was human trafficking too, without even knowing. That dude was a bad dude, guys. I don't know if
Yeah,
you
he was.
Yeah.
He was bad. He was
Yeah,
bad.
you know what? I would love to do an episode where we talk about the reality of what a real Star Wars, like, for instance, talking about Han Solo, right?
Yeah.
Talking about Ahsoka. Like, Ahsoka was a fucking child soldier. Like, she literally was a child soldier. Like, you could make oh, okay. Here we go.
We're getting a call.
So we're
We're getting a call.
So,
All right.
You could have finished your thought.
No, I'm good. Oh, shit. Call him back.
Click
Yeah.
it. Click it.
Click,
Hit the-
just click
push
it.
Hello.
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 Hey, what's up?
Hi.
Hey, how you doing?
Doing good. Doing good.
Doing good.
You're live.
Awesome.
Not live, but
Awesome. This is Michael, right?
Yes, sir.
Awesome, Michael. Thanks for joining us for
Welcome.
our call-in show.
Mhm.
Where are you
No
from?
problem, no problem.
Where are you from, pal?
I'm from the South Georgia area.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay. How's the weather out there? Bet you're not dealing with any snow, right?
No, but I'm dealing with a lot of rain.
Oh, snap.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool, man. So let's talk Star Wars. What'd you think of the Rise of Skywalker? Are you a fan or are you not a fan?
I'm definitely a fan. I started watching
Oh.
Star Wars when I was about maybe 5 or 6.
Okay.
I started out with the first one. Well, this Rise of Skywalker, it's left me with more questions, but it answered a couple of them. Yeah. You
Okay.
feel me there?
Yeah.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
Well, I mean, like one of the questions: how is Rey a Palpatine?
That's a
Right.
big one.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
That's a
for
good
sure.
one.
Frank takes issue with that one a lot.
Yeah, I do. I definitely take issue with that one. And the reason I do take issue with it, Michael, is because Palpatine doesn't have any children in canon. Like, there's no kids that exist. Like, he's never had a child. So how does Rey's parents, how are they Palpatines, right? So
Right.
yeah,
If you look into like the canons, you never see any connections between the two.
right.
And also, how is Luke and Anakin Skywalker's lightsaber connected to her?
Yeah, right.
Right.
This is Force Awakens stuff. Yeah, I agree with that. Like that
Right.
connection just came out of nowhere, just
Yeah.
to give her like an importance in the plot.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Like that's one of the main reasons that I think that the choice to make Rey a Palpatine was done retroactively. It wasn't done like before The Last Jedi. It was literally done to like almost
Some importance to her.
give some importance to her
After
after
the fact.
Ryan Johnson is kind of diluted that.
I
you
kind
know,
of disagree with that. I feel like there's hints that the dark side kind of calls to her.
That could have been
but-
done without Palpatine.
Yeah, so I don't know. The decision might have been there. That might have been on the storyboard somewhere.
sure, but okay, but let's talk about what Michael's talking about, the lightsaber thing, right? In Force Awakens, Rey touches Luke's lightsaber and has visions of Cloud City, and here's Vader, and here's Obi-Wan, and here's all these people who are significant in Luke's life, right?
Yeah.
And
Also,
yeah,
on I don't know if she was in like the Death Star or the when she had that vision, she was in, I believe she was in a imperial base.
no, she was in she was on Takodana at Maz Kanata's castle.
Right. But
Yeah.
when she had that vision, didn't she like go into an imperial base for like a second or
Yeah,
Or
I
not?
think so. Yeah,
It was Cloud. Well, yeah. It was the Death Star, and then Cloud City. No, actually, it was more Cloud City than anything.
Yeah.
And then
Sure.
it was
Luke's hand on R2D2.
yeah, Luke's hand on R2D2, and then Kylo Ren murdering somebody right in front of her on a like rainy field, which looked like it was like Luke's temple was burning in the background or some shit like that. Yeah,
heard Obi-Wan's voice say Rey.
Right.
yeah, Ray. Yeah, and hello there. Yeah, no, that's exactly what it was. So I definitely get your point, because you know that moral. Okay, so I don't know if you've heard the theory that Rey was a clone, right? Did you hear about that theory?
Right. I heard about that.
Okay, so the clone theory lines up way better with what we're talking about with the lightsaber, because if Rey was cloned from Luke Skywalker, or his hand that he lost or whatever, right? The DNA would be in her, and the lightsaber would make that connection, right? The Force would make that connection. But if she's a Palpatine, why the fuck would Luke's lightsaber be the touchstone? That doesn't make any sense, right?
What did y'all think about that vision she had of Dark Rey and the double-bladed lightsaber?
Fan service.
Yeah.
I actually wish they would have delved into that
Yeah.
storyline
Yeah.
a little bit. I wanted
yeah.
to see her struggle with the dark side.
I felt like they needed a good shot for the trailer,
Yeah.
and they just gave you
I
that
felt like
shot.
they should have done it.
It
I
was
felt
a
like they
trick.
should have made her
Yeah.
dark.
I felt like it was a trick.
I
Yeah.
wanted to
The
see
whole
that.
movie, y'all can yell at me for this. I was waiting for Rey to go dark.
Yeah,
because
me too,
I
man.
wanted to see her actually, wield that sucker.
Yeah, me too,
Mhm,
man.
mhm.
No, we were we did an entire episode where we went back into why Palpatine was still in the story. We talked about like the 30, 40 years he's been rebuilding his forces and cloning and all kinds of shit. And we also talked about how Rey could be a clone. We actually provided like reasoning and arguments to support this clone theory, and it was all predicated on seeing that trailer with Dark Rey.
Yeah.
Like we were like, that's
Well,
got to be a clone.
It was
And
just-
plus the Last Jedi, with the scene in the Last Jedi when she's standing in front of that mirror wall and she can see
Right.
literally thousands of her.
Yeah.
Does that not scream clone? That screams clone to me.
I wanted to actually just see her go dark, and I felt robbed of the opportunity because Palpatine told her, "If you kill me, then you're gonna go dark," and then
Exactly.
she doesn't kill him.
Exactly.
And like, I wish it would have just played out. I wish she would have just killed him, and then like Ben Solo or Leia or someone would have had to bring her back to the good side. That would have
Yeah.
been cooler.
So-
Yeah.
Why can't you force kill me, Rey?
Yeah.
There could have been cooler things that they could have done with Ben and Rey. Anyway,
So let me ask you. Go ahead.
I believe there was a lot left out that they could have done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
Go
Well,
ahead.
what did you think of Palpatine being in the movie as a whole? Did you think it was forced, or did you think it was just right, or maybe they could have introduced
Well-
him earlier?
When I heard the trailer, when I heard his laugh, I honestly fanboyed.
Oh, we all
Yeah.
did, dude.
Mhm.
We all did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I believe the way they brought him back was like not as storyline,
Mm-hmm.
because you read canon and the way he comes back is he sends his life force into somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
Does their presence, then comes back. I was waiting to see that, not Palpatine himself, old Palpatine,
Right. Physical
Hey.
body Palpatine, right?
full Highlander. Hey, kill me and you will become stronger.
Highlander, yes, yes. Yeah. No, like the one thing that really threw me was the Palpatine learning that Rey and Kylo were a dyad in the Force, and by absorbing their powers, he became re-energized. Like that was just
Almighty.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it was just so, it was coincidental. Like it wasn't him like learning that knowledge that they were a dyad. It was like just literally like, oh, now
Oh, look at that.
yeah, look, this works. Look, I'm getting better, guys. I'm getting better. Yeah.
I think they could have went a whole 180 on that,
Yeah.
but I also believe that they could have did more Knights of Ren stuff.
Yeah.
That was my next question to you. What did you think of Knights of Ren?
There should have been more of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There should have been more scenes of them.
Or they
So
should have done something, and they should have played some role, some consequential role in the story. I hate to keep beating this dead horse to death, but they literally look like a death metal group the entire time. Like they look like they were shooting a video for a fucking death metal song. Like it was.
For the most part, they looked like they were just standing around until like the very last scene.
Yeah,
of
when
the
they
movie.
fought Kylo. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Not very important to the
Wasted-
story for
wasted
sure.
Oh, hey,
characters.
Yeah.
Stalk you through the entire galaxy, then get killed by my own boss.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, that's pretty much
Sounds
it.
like a weird Family Guy movie right there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's pretty much.
Hey,
Did
let me ask this:
yeah.
What do you
What?
think of the Rey and Kylo kiss?
Yeah, I was about to ask you
Oh,
that.
man.
No, I wanna
What did you
I
think
wanna
of
hear
it?
what you
We've
have to
talked
say.
Yeah, what
about
did you
it,
think,
yeah.
Michael?
I didn't see it coming.
Did you think it was awkward? Did
Did
you
you like
like it?
I thought it was awkward as hell, honestly, to be honest with you, because one, you got to learn about these characters like they were brother and sister. You get me?
Yeah, for sure.
I guess, yeah, that kind of vibe.
Where
It's pretty
you-
consistent through
you-
Star Wars.
The hints were like, okay, he's a Solo, so she's probably a Skywalker. So somewhere down the line, they could be related.
Right,
But then
that's a good
In
point.
the end, it comes out she's a Palpatine.
Right.
So it's just like, wait a minute. It looks like she's kissing her brother.
Shouldn't be the first time we saw that.
it's reverse Luke and Leia.
Yeah.
Because we all assume they're brother
Yeah.
and sister, and then
Yeah.
they're not.
Plus, we know incest is on the rise in popularity with Game of Thrones, right? So,
Well, I haven't really seen Game of Thrones. So.
oh, you're missing out, man. You're missing out. Check it out.
Well, I was on the
I don't
premise
have
that
it
she
on
was
Hulu.
nobody, and like I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah, no,
So-
but you make a good point. Maybe the choice to make her a Palpatine was so they could justify the kiss.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, you're
Yeah, who
right.
knows,
You're-
man.
you're right.
Maybe. But like Disney isn't doing incest. Let's face that.
Yeah.
Like that's not
That
gonna
was a
happen.
very Disney-esque moment, though, you know, because Disney always has that thing where you have to like kiss someone to bring
The
them
prince
back to
and the
life.
princess.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, jeez.
fucking
Did they
for
So that
sure.
felt
Yeah.
super Disney.
Yeah.
Oh,
Is-
they
is
did
what-
it. If you ever watched Once Upon a Time, they keep doing that in the show
Oh,
Once
for
Upon a
sure.
Time.
I can't watch
So,
that show,
yeah.
dude. I can't watch that show.
True Love's Kiss is
Yeah.
like a thing in the show. So
Yeah.
that moment felt very much like that to me.
Yeah. Well, Michael, hey buddy, it was great for you to call in. We got a bunch of people waiting on the line that we got to get
Yeah,
to.
man, great hearing from you.
But thanks for calling in. Thanks for
Thanks
supporting the
for
show.
I'll talk
And
to y'all next time.
sorry, go ahead.
Said I'll talk to y'all next time.
Yeah, man.
All right,
Thanks
man.
a lot.
Later,
Keep
dude.
listening to the show.
Thanks.
Hope you enjoy it. Take care, pal.
Oh yeah.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye. All right, guys. Looks like our next call is with my boy Sean. What's up, Sean?
Hey guys,
Hi, Sean.
Hi.
Hi.
How you doing, man? How's Morial? Good?
Moral's pretty good. It's it can't make up its mind on the weather, and it keeps busting my car up. But other than that,
Yeah, I hear
it's
there's
great.
like a lot of storms and canceled flights actually this past weekend.
It's just freezing rain, warm weather,
Wow.
freezing weather, and then repeat. It makes no sense.
Oh,
Yeah,
that
that's
sucks,
that's
dude.
Canadian weather, I feel, in a
That's
nutshell.
rough.
It's I don't know. I have to say I'm on the global warming side with this. It's worse than it's ever been.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
That
And for
sucks.
those non-French speaking listeners, that's Montreal. It's a city in Canada.
People are looking at their Google Maps right now. Morial, what the fuck? Yeah, man. Listen, I specifically wanted to get you to call in because all we've talked about in terms of the Rise of Skywalker is you liked it, I laughed at you, and then I said, okay, we got to get you to call in because I really want to hear your reasoning behind loving this movie as much as you do. And I'm not saying you shouldn't love it, and I'm like I'm happy you enjoyed it, but I definitely got my issues with it.
But you were also a snob if you laughed at him.
Yeah, I'm
for
kind of a
liking
snob,
it.
but he's used to that.
Just
so,
saying.
so Sean, what was it about Rise of Skywalker that you got that you had so much love for, dude?
I mean, I wouldn't say it's the best Star Wars movie, but I definitely enjoyed it. There was a lot of people that are critical of it, but I'm not gonna lie, it's hard for me to pinpoint. There were issues with it, but overall, I found that the arc went well. I found that they tied up some story points decently and or pretty well, considering that they did such a shift from the last movie with certain points. I liked that they brought Emperor Palpatine back, although I didn't like the fact that it wasn't really well explained. But that's kind of a Star Wars thing. Sometimes stuff's just happening.
Yeah.
I don't know. They actually made use to a degree of most of the main characters, whereas a big issue I had with the last one is I found that Finn's whole thing was kind of just a way to find a place for him because he didn't really fit in the movie. Yeah, I don't know. I liked it. I liked the action. I liked the messaging behind it. I liked that they Ben got to come back to the light side. And I probably liked it for every reason everyone else hated it. I don't know.
Okay. Well, Saba was a fan of it.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of the
I
stuff you
like
said.
those
Yeah.
things. I like some of those
And
things about this.
Something
Yeah.
that you said about like not being able to pinpoint, I kind of really agree with. I kind of
Yeah,
got like a feeling of it when I watched it, that like enjoying it, and I do understand the criticism. So like when you were kind of watching it, and let's say you're talking to someone like Frank about it, what like parts of the criticism, even though you did enjoy the movie, did you agree with, or some things you were like, no, that's way like off base?
I honestly, I don't know. I don't remember our conversation to such a degree of specific points. Frank just kind of talked about how he didn't enjoy it. But
Sounds like Frank.
I don't know if you went on too many. I don't know if you went on too many specifics. You just kind of like, oh man, what are you talking about?
I was shocked, brother. I was trying to recover from shock. That's what was happening.
I think
Okay.
one of the main things Frank didn't like is you said Palpatine came from nowhere.
Yeah.
So a lot of people took issue with that, myself included. I didn't
Yeah.
love that he just reappeared from nowhere.
Yeah. So Sean, in our last episode, like our last spoiler hot review, Saba made an amazing point, and honestly, I'm kind of sad that they didn't do this, but she just flipped her hair.
I did just flip my hair.
That's hilarious. Do you want to brush your shoulder off too while you're at it?
for
There you
sure.
go.
Got that.
Okay. She made an amazing point that they should have ended The Last Jedi with some sort of glimpse into Palpatine. Like when they start the crawl on The Rise of Skywalker and it says that, you can hear his voice echoing across the galaxy with a message of revenge. Saba made the point that would have been the perfect ending for The Last Jedi. What do you think about that?
You know that I mean, I think it could have been good, but they never really I like that they kind of follow the same setup as the originals. So like they don't really lead too much into the next one. When it comes to the last one, a lot of time has already passed. Like I think honestly, we're all spoiled these days with how movies are made and all the fan, like giving things to the fans and all that kind of stuff. Because if you really think about it, the same kind of stuff could have been said for all the last ones. Like so much changed in between, A New Hope to Empire or then to Jedi, that they didn't like fill in the gaps for you. It was just like, here's what's happening in the movie.
Right.
You know, like when they went to Tatooine and Leia was a slave and all that stuff, they didn't like give you a precursor to it. This is what's happening. You know, they didn't show you how it happened. So I think that a lot of people have a gripe with that, but we don't necessarily deserve to. It's the writers. That being said, I don't know if you're aware of this, but they never intended for Palpatine to come back. That was actually a rewrite. Yeah. So they couldn't have had it.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree with that. Okay, so just to establish the baseline here, were you a fan of The Last Jedi or no?
So I actually loved The Last Jedi.
Okay, so did I.
For the whole Finn arc.
Okay.
I really enjoyed it. I thought that cinematically it was nice. Like the way it looked, the story was great. Again, the Finn arc, it's not that I don't like Finn, by the way. It's just that I just didn't find that they found a good use for him in that movie. They just they made up like a whole sideline that literally was useless just to give him something to do.
Okay.
And that's the only part about it I really didn't enjoy. But I actually did not like The Force Awakens.
I'm like The Force Awakens, I enjoyed it, but I saw through the I saw through the trees of I saw the remake, like the beats from A New Hope very quickly.
Yeah. But I mean, it was so intentional, obviously, in their filmmaking, but at the same time, it would have been nice to have something different.
Yeah.
You know? But again, the prequels were such a mess, and like I enjoyed every Star movie I've ever seen. So even if they weren't like something I loved, I still enjoyed it for what it is.
Yeah.
I've liked Star Wars since I was a kid, but the prequels did try a very different approach, and it didn't work. So I feel like they were just trying to play a safe bet to a degree.
Right.
But I would have liked if they had made their own beasts as well.
Right. Okay.
So
well,
let me ask you something, Sean. In this movie, there's been a lot of criticisms on how the power escalation of the Force, and how it was kind of like to some degree sometimes used as a plot device, and sometimes it was just like there was no justification for certain things. Did you feel like the Force was something that is kind of like a different thing in this movie, that like it's kind of like okay that they power escalated the Force to such a degree because it's the last movie, or should they have stuck to like the rules that's been pre-established between the with all of the other canon movies?
Okay, so that's a great question. It's also a tricky question, because the fact is that if someone's just a regular viewer and has just seen the originals, I can see why you would look at it that way. But it was more, I think, a lack of imagination and visual effects capabilities at the time, because all of the novels had, I mean, not everything, let's say, but a large majority of the Force powers that are used in the movies, like the newer ones, were present at some point, and even beyond that, way crazier stuff. And I haven't personally watched the animated series, but I did read a lot of stuff about it when I was just reading about the movies. And like, there's time travel in that, and that's like actual canonized, stuff.
The world between worlds,
so like, all that kind of stuff. So it's like, again, I think it's just a matter of people over focusing on stuff that they're not familiar with because they haven't necessarily seen it all. But like, I can't think of any examples off the top of my head per se, but in the books, like, there was some crazy stuff that they did. And, there's a lot of books that I read about Luke Skywalker after the Return of the Jedi saga. And, like, he was exploring his stuff. There was like a dark side component. He once like flew, basically, like Superman, like his ship blew up. So he just floated down from basically space. It's like, who's to say what is and isn't appropriate at that point?
So one specific example, is the life-saving effects of the Force, or people using it to bring people back from the dead. Is there, you read the books, is there something in there about that?
I'll be honest with you. I don't want to say yes or no because I don't remember exactly, but I do believe so. But at least if we're looking at just the movies, at least Disney did their due diligence, and they did put it in the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
With little baby Yoda, at least. Like, they didn't make it just a plot point per se. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if they did the Mandalorian just for that, or if they ended up bringing it in because that's a cool idea. But at least they touched on it in different areas. I do think so, though. I mean, like, and it also kind of falls in with the whole idea of what Palpatine was discussing, of how you can create life using the Force. Like, it's kind of connected.
Right. I feel like there should be some kind of trade-off.
New.
Yeah.
to do that? I feel like they should have to give up some years of their life or something to do that.
Oh,
Well,
but I think they kind of do.
it
She
is a
said
life
she gave a bit of her life force, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And in order to bring Rey back from the dead entirely, Ben died.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Right.
Yeah.
Really, what I was like alluding to is the fact that like these force powers were essentially just introduced in this last movie. I mean, you can point to a lot of things in like canon or even a lot of the games, which I think like games should never be like kind of pointed to, because the games by definition are going to be more spectacular than movies, because you give it more leeway.
You need more conflict.
You can
in the
point to
game.
a lot of these things, but the argument really was that should they have been introduced in this last movie with as very little justification as we got for them, because casual fan or not, like these things that people point to that's been introduced, it's very obscure. Like not a lot of people read the comics. Some people play the video games.
Yeah.
And even then it's like should that be canonized, right?
So this is actually something I think Frank and I did discuss, which is like, it's one thing I don't enjoy. It's not about Star Wars or this new movie in particular. It's actually the way movies are done in general right now, even when it comes to different like genres.
Mm-hmm.
Not I guess not genres. Still a lot relative to comics, but companies like Disney sort of don't understand that not everyone's a hyper fan,
Mm-hmm.
and they will actually bridge gaps between movies and stuff with novels or with comics, and they, if you don't follow that stuff, you are left out to a degree. I
Yeah.
think that's a disservice to some fans.
Right.
Although I don't agree with you that they shouldn't necessarily include those kind of powers
Right.
in the movies just because you may not know about it, right?
Mhm.
The thing is, it shouldn't be so focused on, like it should be, because we're having fun talking about it and what have you, but at the same time, that's what they wrote into the story. The people who are making this and developing it, that's what their vision is for it. You should accept that. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And
Yeah.
they try to touch on it in other areas, so it does exist elsewhere. It is available for you. It's just a matter of whether or not you're gonna read it.
Sure.
But they get influence from places, right? So if one person came up with this idea that became canon in a novel, and then J.J. Abrams in his research for the movie comes across that and thinks it's a great idea and he incorporates it, what's wrong with that?
Yeah.
Right.
I think it's better for us.
Right.
Right.
I mean, you can Google force powers from the books, and it is a long list. there's a million
For sure.
things that like have been put in. So like, why not? Pull
I'm definitely.
why keep it safe?
Yeah, I agree with you that these decisions should be made by like the filmmakers. Like they can make their, that's what they wrote, and you should be happy with it. And I've used that to defend like the prequel movies. But like we don't have a lot of time here. But like I wanted to like point out the fact that like hard magic systems set up a rule, and it's within the universe, and when they start breaking rules, that like those rules should be respected in the future movies, and whatever artistic decisions could be made within the story following those rules, that should be the avenue you should go to, not break the rules and in favor of like spectacle, right? But yeah, I definitely get your point about like how like they should pull from whatever they should pull from, no matter what, as long as like the universe itself gets respected, right?
But what power? I only have one in mind that kind of fits here, but I'm curious as to what power you think was it the life bringing that was
so
like sort of breaking the rule for you?
That broke the rules. Okay, so there's life transference, there's matter teleportation, there's even the life drain, you could argue could be from somewhere, the force lightning, just the sheer like power of the force lightning we've never seen before. What else? There's
we totally have seen that before though. In the books, it was done quite a few times.
Sure.
And in video games. And I know video
one?
games, I agree with what you're saying because they add a different element, but you got to keep in mind that in the previous movies, they didn't always have the ability to do that kind of stuff, right?
Right. Well, who didn't?
I think he's talking about the original trilogy.
Yeah, like the film.
Right.
Yeah,
But if you're talking about the
technology-wise
prequels,
in
you
real
may
life.
hate the prequels, but that still sets a precedence of what your universe can and can't do. And if you're telling me that Jedi Masters who've mastered this power can't do it, and you can't really argue that CGI wasn't there because it was there, right?
Sure.
So like if these characters are doing things that were never possible in the prequel trilogy, then you have to ask like where's his magic coming from, right? And it's just like and it's really just like the scale and how they attain this power. So Rey essentially just has like innate ability to tap into like powers that even Yoda doesn't know.
Yeah, like she didn't learn it somewhere. She kind of just knows how to do it. I think that's what's kind of annoying. I do agree about that.
Rey had it a bit too easily. But I mean, they kind of explain it to a degree. But I agree that was kind of not the most well done, I guess. But I don't agree that the lightning and stuff was overdone. I understand that it was grand and it was visual and all that stuff. But there is precedence for that level of power. Sure. In the novels, and even the life force again, like that touches on, like I mentioned before, the whole story that's been around since the originals of Palpatine's master, Darth
Plagueis.
Yes, thank you.
I didn't necessarily have a problem with that, but for me, one of the annoying things around that was that they kept doing it to twist the plot. Yeah. It just felt like there were so many plot twists.
And like,
the plot twists were kind of exhaustive.
Us.
And also,
the plot twists were exhaustive.
Like, I agree with you with the Force lightning, and like you can point to it, but like, for me, essentially, it was in light of the other kind of like misuse of the Force. It didn't like so if your argument is true that like these things are acceptable changes to the Force that can be brought into this existing magic system, I would accept that if it wasn't so obvious that the rest of the time that they use the Force, it was to make writing easier and to make the spectacle better and like in not respecting do you understand what I'm trying to say? Like it
was a
like
plot device.
No, I do.
Yeah, it's a plot device,
I'm gonna
right?
find you some examples of those exact powers being used, and I'm gonna give them to Frank.
No, I agree that they exist for sure. It's just I thought they were a misuse because like it's just a weird introduction for a lot of them.
I can see what you're saying. I can see what you're saying. The only major one I had an initial problem with was the fact that they were fighting basically across space. Which I found very odd, and that was where the whole World Between Worlds kind of stuff apparently sort of makes that make sense. But I didn't really buy that. That's something I didn't understand, like how they were literally having a lightsaber battle. Like, what does that look like to the stormtrooper?
For sure.
Seeing Rey
good point.
intermittently, or is Darth Vader's helmet now just flying into that other planet? Like, what?
Yeah.
I didn't
Good
really
point.
get that. That's the only real.
Yeah.
It looked great. It was very cool.
Yeah.
I didn't really buy that part.
Yeah, good point.
I could also forgive these kind of changes to the magic system if they didn't do it so much. It just felt like there was so many.
It was
changes.
constant.
It should have been a climax.
It was exhaustive.
If you're gonna do something like that, it should be the climax of the movie. It shouldn't keep happening.
And like they did this in Force Awakens. Force Awakens had their problems, but when Kylo Ren stopped a lightning bolt, we've never seen that before. But none of us went, that's breaking the rules. All of us went, okay,
damn.
why not?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's like, there's a way to do that without breaking the rules, because Kylo Ren did that the entire time in Force Awakens, right?
Yeah.
Like, he did things that nobody's ever done before, but nobody's asking, like, how can you do this?
No, you
You're
make a
just-
good point.
yeah.
No.
Because it wasn't
anyways,
jarring.
make a good
It
point.
wasn't
You make a
jarring.
really good
It kind of
point,
made
Sean.
sense.
Yeah,
right?
no. Everybody's making some very valid points. Now that we're talking about Force powers, Sean, what was your take on Rey being a Palpatine, dude? Because honestly, I wasn't buying it, because one, Palpatine has no kids in canon, and the one that he does have in Legends is named Trioculus, and he has one eye. So,
I'm not gonna lie, I guessed it from The Force Awakens. It was the first thing I thought.
Yeah.
I straight up, I looked over next to me, my wife, and I was like, pretty sure she's a Palpatine.
was it
That
because
was
of
my guess.
What was the giveaway? Like, what made you think that?
the lightsaber style?
That was part of it, but like, yeah, when she, especially in the final battle when she was fighting, the way she was doing it, it was reminiscent to me.
Yeah.
But I honestly, I'm not saying this to like pat myself on the back. I'm really good at reading foreshadowing, and I just see things sometimes. Like, I actually have a game I play with my wife where in a movie I will, within the first 15 minutes, write down on my phone a whole bunch of ideas that I think are going to happen in the movie, and like often they're very correct. And it's something I've always been good at. So I couldn't particularly say what it was, but it was definitely high on my list of what I expected. So I wasn't surprised.
So
Okay.
we kind of did that too.
But I
and
wasn't surprised.
Yeah,
Frank's leading theory was that she was a clone.
She was cloned from
that was my leading theory.
from
yeah.
Luke's hand.
Or Luke, or like
But
because
specifically Luke's hand.
yeah, that was one of them. That was one of
I
them.
didn't think so because that hand fell and got really wrecked.
Sure, but
I don't know
but
how they
So did
would've done that.
Palpatine.
Sure.
And he's okay.
sure, but like, yeah, exactly, right. And then
For all you know, the hand can't have. It's not Lurch. It can't have force powers, but Palpatine can. So he's
Right.
thrown down a
Right.
lightning
He
bolt.
probably just flew.
You know,
Right.
what's the scene from him to like flew to the left and grab onto something, like,
Right,
You know, the
right.
gargoyle.
Sean-
Frank just wanted an explanation for
Gargoyle.
why Luke's lightsaber calls out to
yeah,
Rey.
that doesn't make any sense. That still doesn't make any sense to me. But like your point about foreshadowing is interesting because I
Reasons for
said,
that.
sorry.
There is a canon reason for that to a degree. It's because the crystals in the lightsaber choose their
Yeah, I know that.
their people.
Yeah, but they shouldn't
So,
choose a Palpatine
Well, why not though? Why shouldn't they?
because they shouldn't.
Because
Oh,
well,
okay.
I mean, Luke
Because
shouldn't.
The
because
point is
that's like
supposed
his-
to be that
they can feel in some weird way, right? So
right.
it knew that she had
Yeah, but
like,
this.
the
Very Luke
potential
stuff,
or
yeah, yeah.
whatever.
Which I kind of like
She
that
was in
though.
the vicinity. It's not like she was
Sure.
on her planet and being like, oh, there's something's calling to me. It was only once she was in the area where it was kind of sensing her, and she sensed it back. If they
I
had
get
her
that.
kind of try to follow this feeling across the galaxy, I'd call bullshit. But I think
I
that
get
kind
that.
of flies. 'Cause
Yeah.
who's to say just because she's you know?
Right.
Yeah,
I
dude.
will tell you one thing I did not like about the movie. If I
What?
can segue for a
Yeah,
quick
go
second.
ahead, man. Go ahead.
When in the very, very beginning,
Yeah.
they call out the Holdo maneuver, and they're like, no, that was a
Oh,
1 in a
yeah.
million thing.
Oh,
What are you
yeah.
talking about? She just shot, like she just calculated a freaking like shot right
Yeah.
through that ship. You can do it 100 times. It's a suicide mission.
That was
But, like,
awesome.
There's no reason you can't do it again.
That was awesome. Yeah.
Like they just found a way to kind of be like, just so that you don't think we're gonna do this at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily an option, but they don't explain why. I didn't like that.
That was literally the only thing that Dominic Monaghan did in that movie. It was like Holdo maneuver, and then he talked about what did he talk about? Oh, the dark sciences. The dark sciences of the Force. Like that's how Palpatine
Supposedly,
came back.
he had a lot more scenes that like explain his character, but they deemed it
Yeah,
not necessary.
yeah. So I'm guessing that you got that, like you've had a chance to digest the whole JJ cut thing. By what you're saying, is that am I accurate or no?
I've heard about it. I didn't delve too deep into it.
Okay.
I don't hold out hope. I don't care.
Okay. Well, maybe
he
we'll
liked the
have
movie, so that's why he
yeah,
doesn't care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's not even that. I'd always love to see more of
Yeah.
it. I don't see these companies like Disney doing that kind of stuff. You know, just
Yeah.
kind of like, this is what we got.
yeah.
Like, it's like the Greedo thing. They're not changing it. They don't
Right.
care.
Right.
That's what they want.
So Christina made a really good point on one of our previous shows too. She said that basically when Rey and Palpatine confront each other in the final act, Palpatine tells her that if Rey kills him, he will move into her body, like take possession of her, right?
Yeah.
But Palpatine wants Rey to kill him. So why tell him? Like, or why tell her? Why
Yeah.
say kill me? Why say if you kill me, I will possess you? Like, why let her know? Like, why not just let Rey see? Like, to me, that is a fucking gigantic bust-sized hole in the writer's in the writer's story.
I think it could have just happened, and they could have just let her deal with it.
I think that just like the reason that he was telling Vader to strike him down, or for Luke to strike him down, rather, you kind of have to want that. Like, there's a big plot through the entire 3 movies about Rey being pulled to the dark side, or people wanted her to be in the dark side. Kylo Ren wanted her to be in the dark side.
Mhm.
So, like, I think it has to be a choice for it to function like that. I think if she just straight up killed him, it wouldn't have worked.
It's an
the same
interesting
way.
The-
You know what I
point
mean?
that, like, you're
the
right.
only problem is like,
Yeah.
like she completely loses all motivations to kill him as soon as, like, because Luke had a motivation to kill him whether or not Palpatine wanted
But
him to.
How
Her
did she lose
parents.
her motivation. You
Sorry?
look in the sky, and all her friends are dying. There's still a huge motivation. Like
Right.
he was even trying to use that as an example. He was like, "Kill me,
Yeah.
I'll take control. I'll be a part of you, and they'll all be safe.
The
'cause
problem
you'll
is-
be in charge."
The problem
that
is
creates
like
a huge
killing.
dilemma for her.
Right, but the problem is killing Palpatine doesn't save the fight the same way that killing Palpatine, like Luke killing Palpatine saves his father, right? So like the whole killing me because you want to save the battle, she could have done it in other ways. She could have subdued him. She could have taken control of the situation without killing him. In the same, like, I like the comparison you made with Luke, like Palpatine telling Luke. But the thing was, like, Luke had way more motivation to kill Palpatine than Rey did, because like Rey's motivation was save Kylo.
No, I'm with Sean on this one, because I feel like Rey had motivation because now she knows Palpatine killed her parents, so that's like added information that she has.
I mean, I think there's even more than that. Like, if you look at it, I agree with you that Luke had a motivation that was, he obviously wanted things to be better for everybody, but he had a big motivation from a personal standpoint with his father and his goal to turn him to the light side. But Rey never really had that. From the beginning, Rey's real motivation was just to be good, and like she actually cared about what was happening, and she at that point, knowing everything that happened to her and that she stole from nothing, she still went and tried to save the day, so to speak. So for her, that was a big deal because she was finally part of something.
So I think that's my problem, because that's like the whole thing behind Rey. So when he told her that, it took away, it was like a deterrent for her to do it, kind of thing. Otherwise, I think she was ready to do it. And she didn't, if she didn't know that she was going to turn dark because of it.
She had like 1 million dark side hooded people around her that probably could have swarmed her and killed her. She's not,
which was also unexplained.
Totally unexplained.
Who the hell were those guys?
Yeah, totally unexplained.
It's unexplained in the movies, but I agree with you that's another thing they kind of left out. But again, back to my original point about Tatooine and Leia and all that stuff. They don't have to explain everything per se.
Yeah.
We're actually lucky these days that we get, because like back in the day, let's say with Return of the Jedi, there weren't the novels and stuff at that point to fill in the gap, because that was kind of it, and they kind of got filled in a little bit later. But at this point, if you are interested to know, you can read the stuff, because they do make that available for you. Again, not everybody does it, but like they have full explanations apparently in like the movie write-up and the comics leading up to it and the comics after it and all that kind of stuff. So it's not like it's non-existent information.
That's a good point, because that's a business case, right?
Yeah,
that's a business case. Yeah.
What do you mean it's a business case?
Yeah. It's a business case in the sense that if I'm the marketing department at Lucasfilm, I'm basically telling these guys to leave certain things out of the movie so I can put them into comic books and books and sell them, right?
Yeah, they build up the entire world,
I don't know.
But so there's going to be a comic?
No.
Is there going to be a comic book about Leia becoming a Jedi?
No, I hope not. I really hope not.
I'll read that.
No. But
there
go ahead, Sean.
Canonized books for Leia becoming a Jedi. Luke trained her for a long time now in a slightly different way, because Ben didn't exist in that. She had different kids, but it fully happens. Like, that wasn't a surprise to me at all. Yeah,
but the Solo kids are legends. They're not canon anymore.
Fine, but they keep making, like, they made Darth Revan canon in this movie.
Right.
What's to say that they can pick and choose whatever they think is going to make sense to fit
by the
back
lightsaber
in.
choice?
Such a weird.
The lightsaber choice, they made Revan canon.
What?
Yeah.
Lightsaber choice? What do you mean?
The color of
The
the cover of Rey's lightsaber
is yellow.
Oh, okay.
At the end.
Oh, no, it wasn't because of the lightsaber choice only. That's also, someone else had that. I forget who. I forget what it was, but something about Palpatine's followers are related. Like, there's something with Revan there, and it's explained more apparently in like the movie write-up. But there's a whole thing, you can look it up. But now apparently that was a purposeful lead-in, because their next movie is going to be in the time when Revan was around.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Interesting.
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting take, especially on when you're thinking about the original trilogy and the information we didn't have. Like, Boba Fett was not a character we knew anything about if you're just taking the original.
He's just there.
Yeah, and then now there's like obviously this like whole story behind him, and then same with the Hutts and all of that. So
no,
that's a really interesting.
We're just spoiled. That's what it is. We see the stuff now, and we're like, we want all the information available right away.
I agree with that point.
'Cause we're used to that, but it doesn't mean it's right.
right. Like, I agree with you that the filmmaking right now is like in a weird spot where like everybody there's a lot of like leaks and like whatever, but there's something you said that I kind of like, that you and Frank actually, when you said like we should leave something out for the comic. Like, that's really not how filmmaking works. You can't leave, like, I agree that you can leave like details out, and expand on it later. But like essential information cannot be like, as a filmmaker's perspective.
I agree.
Essential information.
Yeah,
has
yeah, yeah.
To be
No,
there.
no, dude. I agree. But what I'm saying is, there's somebody in a marketing department at Disney.
Oh, okay, yeah,
who's put value on this information,
right.
and said, I can turn this into a comic
I thought you were
book,
saying
right?
that's
No.
a good thing.
No. It's not.
Internal pressure.
It's not.
You know what it is?
Yeah, it's business.
I don't know if any of you guys read any of the Chuck Wendig books that led up to and preceded The Force Awakens.
I'm trying to get into them, man. Honestly, I just haven't had the time. I really want to read them.
They're pretty good. I read the Leia book. That was a bit of a teeth grinder. Like I had to force myself through it. But
so many of those Star Wars books are like that, though. Oh.
I heard Dr. Afro was really cool. So I have
comic book?
I have
Yeah,
that.
it's supposed to be good.
I'm trying to get into that.
Sorry, go ahead, Sean.
But the point I'm trying to make is just that a lot of that stuff, I think that the way this evolved to have all that content was a natural evolution, because long before the new movies came out, like even The Force Awakens, Marvel, in partnership with Disney, I believe at that point, was creating Star Wars comics, tons of them.
Yeah.
All that's canon. It's all canon.
Yeah, all the Star Wars comics are canon.
Novelizations, all canon.
Yeah.
So like diehard fans were reading all these stories, and they're learning more and more about what's happening up until that point.
Right.
And then there's a time skip when The Force Awakens starts, and they have to fill that gap somehow. Like to fill that all in a movie is extremely difficult.
Yeah.
And they've just created such a giant world that's so big at this point. Like they've taken the Avengers world building and flipped it on its head, because now it takes place on multiple medias.
Yeah.
And I just think that they sort of opened the monster they can't really stop. And you know what? As frustrating as it can be for viewers, including myself sometimes, and like, what the hell's going on? I don't think they should stop, because like I feel like movie making these days, they listen too much to the fans, and there's a degree that they shouldn't, and they should just tell their stories however they have to. And the movie can work as a standalone film, or you can read the extra and you can learn more about it, and you can have even more involvement and more understanding. Because at the end of the day, does it really matter where Palpatine's hooded people came from? If you really think about it, the guy was exceptional at indoctrinating people and getting the masses. He had an entire empire built off of lies, and like, what's to say he can't do that again? You know, like maybe they existed already. Maybe during the Empire's period, they were already something that he had. He was famous for making backup plans of all sorts, right? So,
yeah, he was the contingency master. He was Machiavelli, that's for sure. Yeah, man. So before I let you go, I'm gonna ask you a yes or no question, and I'm gonna ask you basically two yes or no questions. Or sorry, the last question will be like a one-word answer.
Okay,
yes or no? Did you like that Rey was a Skywalker at the end, or took the name of Skywalker at the end?
Does it have to be yes or no?
Yeah.
I'm gonna
let him expand. Let him expand.
Okay, expand a bit. Why?
I thought it was nice, and she made a decision that that's where she wanted to have her family, because she didn't want to follow her legacy that she was just by blood, because she was more than that.
Sure. At
the same token, I don't know how many years or how much time actually existed with those people, so I don't know how deep her relationship actually grew, if it was justifiable.
Yeah. Okay. Good point. I kind of wanted to see, like, I kind of wanted Rey to own the Palpatine name and kind of turn it around. That's what I was going for. It's like, if she's going to be a Palpatine,
if you're
be a
not
Palpatine.
Hitler, even now, no one's interested.
Yeah, I get that.
If your last name's Hitler, nobody's interested.
It's basically the equivalent.
But I get you. I like that she kind of chose her own path.
Hi, I'm Paul Hitler.
Yeah, I'd be
Fuck
changing
you,
that too.
Yeah.
I would be changing that. That's a fair point.
Sorry,
okay. It's all good. It's all good. Yeah, there's definitely some unfortunate soul out there. Its last name's Hitler. Yeah. Okay. Last question. You're a businessman. You run your own business. Where does the fault lie with this trilogy with Disney? Is it Kathleen Kennedy, or is it something more?
I actually don't know much about Kathleen Kennedy.
Okay.
Unfortunately,
all right.
I would say that it's probably more. I think that they rushed it for the sake of making it for all three of them to try to get it on their cash cow that they had purchased.
Yeah.
And they could have done a better service through all three of them
if
they took their time and cared more about the original stories.
Yeah, I I agree, Sean.
I think that's like the root of everything, whether you liked it or not. That seems to be the thing everyone comes back to. That's like the one.
They just diverted
pain
far
point.
way too much.
If they had one consistent creative vision, it would have been a lot better for sure.
Yeah, like the one thing I can say on that, just to add to it, is
Shoot.
even now I don't fully understand why they introduced all these new characters. Just for the trilogy to end with one of the major ones dead and no plans to have those two
TV
major
shows,
in any future
100%.
movies.
It's called Disney Plus and merchandising. That's what it's called.
Do you think that they're gonna have a Finn show?
Not Finn, but
I
like
don't know
Zori
about Finn.
Bliss. I
Yeah,
can see
Zori
Zori
Bliss is gonna be a show.
Finn was definitely
Finn's
introduced to be
Ray
in the
said
center.
she's done.
Yeah.
They don't have interest. I mean, I guess money buys anything, but ultimately they don't. Their story apparently is finished. So it's like they killed off all the originals. They brought in new people, and they're doing as far as we know. I mean, nothing with them.
Right.
What was the point?
There could
Why
be
not
another
just continue
trilogy
the
or
original
standalone
story arc?
movies.
Well, it was announced
I actually
today.
would have loved if they had followed the original after the Return of the Jedi story, because it was great. There was no reason to change
I
it.
agree.
And not everyone read those books.
Yeah. Well, it was announced today that Disney Plus is going to make a Knights of the Old Republic TV series.
No, that's fantastic.
That is fantastic. So
that's got nothing to do with the new guys.
No, I know. But I'm just trying to add a little bit of color to that. So
that was a good. Those were good games.
Yeah.
I wish they had another one.
Yeah. Well, hey bud, listen, man, I really appreciate you calling in.
Nice talking to you.
I definitely want to get you back onto another episode because, like, you definitely got Star Wars knowledge that's pretty extensive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. I wish we had longer to
sure.
talk. For
My
sure.
pleasure.
Yeah, I wish we had a longer time to talk too. All right, Sean. Thanks, man. We'll talk soon.
Cool. See
Later,
you soon.
dude.
Yeah,
Thanks.
peace. Later.
Bye.
Okay, well, that's all we have for this evening for our call-in show. We hope you guys enjoyed it. We definitely had a fun time. We definitely learned a lot of new Star Wars stuff from Sean. So I think we're gonna end it here. I think we're all gonna sign off. So this is Frank.
This is Christina.
It's Chris.
And Saba.
Later, dude.
Peace.